Yo mama's so fat, Kirby couldn't even swallow her.
Well, Yo Mama's so fat, she inhaled Kirby.
Burn. Hey everybody, welcome to ATTG. I'm Ashton, that's Ethan, and that's Snowy Clover. Alright, so today's episode, and before I even start about that, we're not Alex Tries the Game. We're not a gay Mexican band. Pardon my French. I don't even think that's French. But we are ATTG. We review, talk about, and even think about making games sometimes. By God, if you can't read, or who is it? I forgot that old intro. If you can't read, or forgot how to read, or somehow was never taught how to read, this is ATTG, and this is all about Kirby. Alright.
I don't know if you guys could tell or not. That was actually our very first scripted intro. Not going to be doing that very often.
So we have an entire list of like top 10 Kirby games. What else is there on that list?
No, it's top 10 Kirby items, Kirby characters, and Kirby abilities.
Ah.
Kirby games will probably be a better top 10s, and I would put a lot more effort into that.
Okay. So, tell us about whichever list you want to start with first. What do you want some on that?
Alright. The top 10 Kirby items I will start with.
Now, see, I've never played a Kirby game other than Mass Attack and Epic Yarn, so you're going to have to tell me some of these items as you go along. Start from 10 and up.
The most obvious item is food, because food is great. But what's even better than food? A Maximum Tomato to heal all of your health. Number 8 is 1 up.
1 up.
Number 7 is even better than a 1-up. It's invincibility candy. You eat it, it's a little lollipop that you eat, and you are pretty much like Star Mario, where you can just run and kill everything you want to just by tackling it.
I don't think you flip though, or make this weird Italian noise.
Number 7, the invincibility Number 6, the jumbo candy. What's even better than invincibility candy? A giant candy that you grab with all 10 of your Kirbys in Kirby's Mass Attack. And then you can become giant and run into everything with a ton of gigantic Kirbys.
Sounds fun. Stop.
I know that one. That one's really fun. It's like this lollipop thing, and you eat it and become gigantic and invincible, and you can just smash through absolutely everything.
Number 5, practically the trademark, the Warp Star. Number 4, a Super Smash Bros. Favorite, the Super Spicy Curry.
Wow.
And number 3, the best Kirby ability giver, the microphone. You eat a microphone, and you get Mike Kirby. It is devastating. You use Mike Kirby 3 times. They're all destroying everything on the map. Everything in sight is gone when Kirby blows into that microphone. Number 2, the Hammer of the King, the DDD Hammer.
Ooh.
It in Super Smash Brothers, and also I believe Kirby Superstar or Kirby Superstar Ultra, I get those confused sometimes, is replaced with a hammer that has a jet engine inside of it. Deadly.
Oh my god.
I'd assume.
Are you kidding me?
And
What does it need a jet engine for?
to be the jet hammer.
Well, I guess. What's number 1?
Number 1, the best item in the entire game, in my opinion, and probably a lot of your opinions, is Meta Knight's sword, Galaxia.
Probably.
The sword only wieldable, if that's a word,
Wieldable.
by a Star Warrior.
What's the next list?
The top 10 Kirby abilities.
Ooh.
This is going to get interesting. Mirror Kirby. If you've ever played a game with this, you will know how fun it is to use. You can split yourself in half by doing being, knocking out all the enemies that you hit. You can also like do sort of a running weird like tilty thing with Mirror Kirby and pretty much move fast and kill enemies, and you have sort of like, it looks like the beam rod from Beam Kirby, but it's Mirror Kirby.
Next.
Number 9, Beam Kirby. Swallow a Waddle Doo, and you get the Beam Rod, where you can just go beep beep beep. Number 8, I have it at number 8, kind of confusingly, because this ability is only useful when there's another ability useful. Copy Kirby. If you eat the little thief guy in Kirby, you can get Copy Kirby, which means you pretty much like, I think it's like you have a camera and you take like a snapshot of an enemy or something like that. I don't know how it works, but you pretty much copy the enemy's ability.
Huh.
Only problem with that is, if you end up running into an ability that good, you can just normally eat it anyway. So Copy Kirby kind of useless sometimes, but it's fun because
it's an hit or miss.
An enemy that is like a Waddle Dee or one of those broom guys that just dies by suicide. If you hit them with that, it'll just kill them.
Huh.
And you still keep the copy ability.
Well, that's cool.
Number 7, Plasma Kirby. You can shoot plasma. It'll be like Star Wars, except Kirby. Also, there are parts of certain levels, where there's like an angle in the floor, and you can shoot a plasma beam and it'll bounce off. And if you like do it right, you can bounce it off and hit enemies, like ricocheting it through.
Kirby 64.
Have you got the fire Kirby yet?
Number 6, Fire Kirby.
How ironic.
Fire Kirby. You can light wicks, which normally are attached to cannons, and you can light the wick, but you have to run to the cannon because cannons don't take very long to fire. You pretty much just have to like time it right where you just like poof fire and then just dash over to the cannon, crawl inside the barrel, and it'll shoot you. Or sometimes it'll just go upside down and then shoot itself up with you. Interesting. Fire Kirby is also very good for long range attacks because flamethrower.
I like flamethrower.
Number 5.
Flamethrower.
First word in
Is it
like
grass
5
Kirby?
minutes is I like flamethrower.
Is it grass Kirby?
Hmm?
Is it grass Kirby?
Grass Kirby is a thing, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Sit back.
Sword Kirby. Number 5, Sword Kirby. Sword Kirby is very interesting. It's what you get if you swallow either Sword Knight or Blade Knight, which are both different characters but do the exact same thing and have the exact same ability. And the Sword Kirby is also known for looking like Link, because when Kirby gets a sword, he gets a little green hat.
Well, doesn't it have like a little blue ball in the end?
I think.
Little yellow ball. And I believe in Kirby's Return to Dreamland, the sword you're using, like, it feels like you're using the Master Sword.
Huh.
But with Kirby. Number 4, if any of you have seen this, it is very fun. Crash Kirby. It's only usable once, but if you're in one of the later games, you will see Kirby. You click the button to use Crash Kirby, and he will just go bouncing off the screen like.
It'd be good against a boss.
It's funny.
Like if you're in like a boss fight and you had saved it right until then.
Yeah.
That'd be helpful.
Yeah, right when the battle
I
started.
think I actually like saved a Mike Kirby or Crash Kirby, and 1 hit or 3 hit KO'd the boss. Number 3 for abilities is Hammer Kirby. This is technically the strongest, other than the 1 hit KO moves, it's the strongest Kirby you can actually keep using continuously. You can also hit like these little wedge type things that stick out of the ground into the ground, and normally like gives you a passage or something like that to items and fun things.
Wait.
But other than that, Hammer Kirby is fun. Number 2, I have this for very specific reasons as number 2, Wheel Kirby. Pretty much, you don't want to really play a stage. It's so flat, long, and boring, and there are a ton of enemies on it. Use Wheel Kirby. It'll just send you spiraling, crashing through all the enemies, all the way to the end.
That sounds really fun, actually.
It only works on certain levels because, as most people know, there are drops that take up more than 1 space, and if you do that, you're probably gonna die.
You can't jump, you just literally spiral through the whole thing.
It's fun. And in Kirby Superstar, where you get a partner, you get the character Wheelie. You can pretty much, like, if you're Wheel Kirby, you can give the power to your partner and they become Wheelie. Or actually, you use the power to make a partner, which is Wheelie, which is what you swallow in order to get Wheel Kirby. You can then ride Wheelie through the stage, and he gets like this biker helmet,
That actually
kind of
sounds
like
quite
Wario, and he can just ride through the stage. And with Wheel Kirby or with Wheelie, you can jump. So you can pretty much bunny hop and ride your way through the entire stage, as long as it's not too complicated. If the stage is too complicated, don't bother. But just keep it for when it's fun.
Yeah.
Number 1, Mike Kirby. For obvious reasons, it's like Crash Kirby. You destroy everything in sight, unless it's a boss, but except you can do it 3 times. What makes a game more than the levels, the items, and the abilities? The characters.
Plot.
The plot, the story, the characters. The characters make up the story. In fact, even the characters'
We should
positions
talk
in the
about
story.
the game.
I always like character development best. That seems to be my favorite part in any story. Or
Character development.
making up stories.
That's why I love Fire Emblem. Anyway, the number 10 on the top 10 characters is the Gordo. You may know this creature as the spiky ball that you can't actually kill. That would be the Gordo. One of the 3 things King DDD can throw at people in Super Smash Bros.
Huh.
Number 9, the Waddle Dee. The cutest little thing ever. Comparatively cuter to Pokemon like Igglybuff, Jigglypuff, Poliwag, etc., Mew, all that stuff. The Waddle Dee is this cute little creature who can't actually hurt you. Well, actually, yes, he can. He can't hurt you in Kirby's Epic Yarn. It's funny. He does this like little cute tackle, and it does nothing. In Kirby's Epic Yarn, you pretty much have to get hit by like a spike in order to get hurt or crushed or something like that. The Waddle Doo. The Waddle Dee Commander. They have the beam ability, which you can swallow and take for yourself. Number 7.
Fun.
Number 7, we start going into some more OP people. Dynablade. It's a boss that looks similar to Ho-Oh-ish, I guess. Like, it's almost like a cross between Ho-Oh and a dinosaur. For those of you who know Ho-Oh from Pokemon, it's like this little rainbow.
Who wouldn't know Ho-Oh?
It's like this little rainbow bird thingy that's on your screen that's a boss that ends up being Kirby's friend and having babies after you kill it. Nothing to do with Kirby.
Yeah, well, Kirby is just a baby.
In one of my favorite Kirby games, Kirby Superstar, at least for the DS. I haven't played the other Superstar in a while, but the Kirby Superstar for the DS, Dynablade ends up becoming a major character in helping you defeat Meta Knight in Meta Knight's Revenge. Pretty much just since Meta Knight has the ship Halberd, you can fly with Dynablade to the Halberd. I don't know if that's a level or if that's just a cutscene. I think it's just a cutscene. Number 6. I don't actually know the name of this thing, but it is pretty funny. I call it the stupid bomb that commits suicide. What it is you can swallow it to become Crash Kirby. It walks, it finds a ledge or the edge of a block and just decides to go, ah. And once it lands, anything near it just gets hurt. Goes boom. I think it might be called the Suicide Bomber. I'm not sure.
Not trying to make terrorist references.
Yeah, we're not trying to make any sort of terrorist references. We don't do things in poor taste. We'll probably have like...
We don't always do things in poor
We'll
taste.
probably have like the title of the character right here when Ashton edits this video.
Maybe. Maybe it can be right here in my
Maybe it can
hands.
be right here in his hands.
Demanding.
Ta-da!
What was the title of the video? What are we doing?
Kirby.
Oh. Be quiet.
Your thoughts and questions.
My thoughts and questions.
Number 5, my favorite partner, Wheelie, for obvious reasons. Number 4, the secondary main character in Kirby's Epic Yarn, Prince Fluff. Originally, Kirby's Epic Yarn was supposed to be just a standalone game called Fluff of Yarn. It pretty much played the same as Kirby's Epic Yarn does, except you probably don't end up going back to Dreamland. I mean, that's kind of Kirby-ish, but towards the end of the production of the game, I guess they decided, you know what, this isn't going to sell well. We need to, like, hook up with one of Nintendo's bigger franchises and, you know, make a game with them. And so Kirby's Epic Yarn happened. Love that game, by the way. Number 3, the King of the Penguins, King Dedede.
He's a penguin.
Any of you who have played pretty much any Kirby game all the way through will definitely know this penguin. He's funny. He jumps, he lands, he creates little stars you swallow to kill him, which is kind of silly because if he kept using his tackle move, he'd pretty much be dead. But he actually does the jump thing where you get stars, so he's kind of dumb. Because he gives you stars to swallow, but he's also very nice. He can be good and bad. Somewhat
like, isn't he a good character in some games?
He's a tyrant, but he's not a villain technically, but he is. I don't know. He's a very kind-hearted king sometimes, but sometimes he's a jerk. The next character, also somewhat not really hero or villain, number 2, Meta Knight. Meta Knight is pretty much the OP character of Super Smash Brothers. Also, Meta Knight is a Star Warrior, like Kirby. He pretty much just a really good Star Warrior.
If you think about it this way, which actually makes it pretty interesting to think about Kirby. Kirby is a Star Warrior like Meta Knight, and Kirby seems to be fairly matched in strength with Meta Knight. Kirby is a prematurely born infant when he is evenly matched.
He's prematurely born about 200 years, I believe.
Yeah, born 200 years early and matches Meta Knight in strength.
Imagine if he waited 200 years to be born. Maybe Popstar
Imagine if he was actually an adult.
Popstar would be screwed because they didn't have Kirby for 200 years. But if Kirby was an adult, he would kick everyone's butt. Up, down, side to side. He would be more OP than Meta Knight and Smash Brothers. He'd pretty much just dominate everything he laid a hand in. He would kill every Pokemon, including Arceus. He would be like, he would
just look Arceus in the eye, and Arceus would be like, "Nope, I'm out of here."
And yeah, number 1 on the list, probably pretty obviously Kirby. He's the cutest thing ever. Maybe about as cute as Waddle Dee, maybe more. I don't know. He's very funny. He can. His power includes being able to inhale and copy abilities, but he can actually eat everything in the world if he wanted to, because his stomach isn't like a real stomach. Like, he doesn't have a neck or anything. He doesn't have he doesn't have a butt. He doesn't have any he doesn't process anything inside of his body. He swallows something and it goes into this like black dimension where he can randomly pull out any of his powers at any time. In the anime, Kirby right back at you anyway. Kirby, the game, I don't think you can do that. That'd be pretty awesome though. I just like load up on powers and be like, oh, you knocked out my beam? How about a sword? Oh, you knocked out my sword? How about fire? Oh, you knocked out my fire? How about Stone Kirby?
That would be really annoying after a while.
We're gonna call that the end of
Oh yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Yo, mama's so fat, Kirby couldn't even swallow her.
Well, your mama's so fat that she swallowed Kirby.
Yes.
We had to
Bloopers! Well, actually, that's perfect.